Overwatch's biggest problem has nothing to do with gameplay and has everything to do with toxicity. I've been hearing really good things about, you know, gameplay changes, and they're definitely in the right direction with all of that. They have the right ideas.
How do you die there, Lucio? You're such a fucking retard. Holy shit.
Thank you for that.
You fucking atrocious at the game.
You are a prime example of the point I was trying to prove. I appreciate you so much right now. Thank you so much. You cannot make this shit up. You know what I've been missing a lot of in Overwatch? The people who used to play Overwatch, the people who made me want to play Overwatch, the people I looked up to becoming a streamer, the people that would be in my games that I would have interactions with even though we only knew each other's usernames. That's what I miss. I think if people came back, I think if the people that I miss so much came back, this game could be positive again. But I really hope that the Overwatch team puts more pressure into finding solutions to toxicity in this game, because that, let me tell you, you think stale metas are a problem. Overwatch's biggest problem has nothing to do with gameplay and has everything to do with toxicity. That's what makes Overwatch unfun. It's not the dull metas. At least not for me, and probably not for most of you. Like, that definitely doesn't help. These things make that worse. They make the Overwatch experience worse, but what actually breaks Overwatch for me is just the rampant toxicity. And you need to find ways, Overwatch team, if you're listening, you need to find ways to combat that. You need to find more effective ways to combat that than what we have right now. You have active issues on live that aren't going to fix themselves, aren't going to be solved by just banning people. And even if you were just banning people, which right now you aren't,
why did you grab their wand?
It's like, you just need to come up with better solutions. I don't know them right now. I am not a developer. I don't claim to know. But what I can tell you is that that is a bigger problem for Overwatch than Overwatch's meta is, than Overwatch's stagnation of play. There is a inherent problem with toxicity that makes people not want to play. Everyone I've talked to, everybody I personally know has stopped playing Overwatch, not because the game feels boring in a mechanical sense, but because they're tired of harassment. And yeah, I am friends with gay people. You're going to find a lot of gay people who have to deal with harassment in platforms beyond Overwatch, beyond Battle.net. But here's the difference. We're not talking about those platforms here. We're talking about Overwatch. We're talking about how to solve Overwatch's problems, how to make Overwatch feel fun again. And that's not going to happen if you're more worried about game mechanics first. I'm going to say a take. I'm going to say a cursed take, but it's the absolute truth in my mind. Riot handles toxicity better than the Overwatch team does. Now, I know that that statement has weight to it, but I want you to understand that I wholeheartedly believe it. I agree with this statement. This is just fundamental truth. And when League of Legends of all games is... No, I agree with Brie. Yeah, like, no foul found. When League is when League has better solutions to toxicity than your game, you have failed. And not in you have failed making a game. You have failed to protect your players. You have failed to protect the people that play this game, the people that love this game. And of course, when you fail to protect them and they just keep getting beat on, they're just gonna leave. At some point, everyone's going to come across a match after so many negative matches, after so much harassment, after so much toxicity. They're gonna come to a breaking point and say, this shit ain't worth it, and uninstall the game. And I don't blame them. League also doesn't have voice chat, though. Voice chat makes it so much worse. And I get that it's like comparing apples to oranges. League doesn't have voice chat, you know. It is mostly like a text chat based, or people communicate over Discord and platforms like that type game. I think that's great. That's fine. Guess what, though? Like, the same misogyny, the same hate, the same everything that is bad about interacting with other people in League is present in Overwatch. And just because the medium has changed, the medium in which that content is delivered to the player, that doesn't mean that you can't implement exactly the same policies or very similar policies that would be just as effective on a voice chat instead of text chat. Something to consider here is in a game like Overwatch and also in a game like League, a lot of toxic players hop on ult accounts and things like that. And so there's never this risk of, you know, is somebody going to figure out who I am? Because most toxic players playing on an ult account using their voice aren't like very well-known players. You're not going to be able to identify them. You're not going to always know. So that's, I think it's still like really bad no matter what way you look at it. I have learned over the years with Overwatch that just sitting there and letting it happen doesn't solve anything, because for the longest time I used to do that. I used to just like shrug off toxicity. You know, I would call it out, but not all the time. I would just like put up with it. It's just whatever. And that doesn't work. That doesn't, just ignoring it, just turning on voice chat, just walking away from it doesn't solve the problem. You think just because I turn off team chat and text chat and all of that, that there isn't someone in like match chat going, oh, this person's like a slur when they're seeing me on the enemy team, or thinking that I'm a thrower and just either verbally abusing me in a muted chat or through text, being very, very awful. Just because I turn these things off doesn't mean they go away. It just means I don't have to see them. And that's not a solution to toxicity, because guess what? There's still, now with Overwatch 2, there's gonna be 9 other people in the game that are gonna have to see it. One of them is the person committing the, you know, the heinous act. But people are gonna see it. And it's not gonna just be me. And guess what? That means you didn't solve your problem. So you need to come up with better punishments, like permabans, for example. I think, yeah, okay, fine. It's one thing for a company to say, you can't do this anymore. You can't have access to this thing you've paid money for anymore because I have deemed you bad. That's dangerous. That's a slippery slope. I hear you. But let's be real here. What do you want the Overwatch player base to be full of? Because by not banning them, you're letting them be a part of the community. Your inaction, and this is what I've had to learn and come to terms with, but your inaction lets people act further. By doing nothing, you are a part of the problem. I was part of the problem before as well, and I realized that, and I'm working on it. I work on it every day. But Overwatch team, you need to like hear me when I say this. You do not have meaningful punishments yet. Not that I have seen. Like, if you have punishments that aren't just, you can't play the game for a week, or you can't talk in voice chat or text chat for a week, or a month, or a year. These methods of deterrence are great. They're fine. But they don't solve every problem. You'll deter some people, and then others will just be like, okay, I'll go to another account. You're not putting enough weight into these punishments for people to be scared of them. You're slapping people on the wrist and saying, have fun. And I know that they know this. Team 4 knows this. Team 4 absolutely understands that there's a toxicity problem. They're very aware. But I'm not gonna shut up about it until you fix it. Because it is that important. For the last solid 5 months, I've been playing mainly single player games because of voice chat and multiplayer games. Yeah! That's like a real thing for a lot of people. Like, there's Liz. Liz doesn't play Overwatch anymore. At least outside of like playing with me. But even before we were dating, Liz stopped playing Overwatch, and you wanna know why? It's because Liz is a feminine voice, and the moment that she says anything in a voice chat, somebody wants to jump down her throat in one way or another. If you had to have Overwatch players rank what Overwatch's biggest problems are, I think if you gave people a choice of 5 different things, within the top 3 would be toxicity for about 80% of your demographic. I think that is honestly the case, and that's horrific. Because I bet you the other 2 things would be stagnation of the game, lack of updates, or maybe something like as simple as the game is unfun. Which is like a very, like, just saying something as simple as the game is unfun is like unhelpful. It's an unhelpful statement, but it's also one that needs to be made because that's equally as important when we're talking about games. Games are supposed to be fun, but like if it's on the same tier as that, That's really bad, because these other things that are bad about Overwatch, stagnant metas, lack of updates, game being fun, these are all things being actively worked on and have been actively worked on for a long time. And I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like toxicity hasn't been attempted at being addressed in the past by the Overwatch team, but it's not getting that same kind of attention and care that it probably deserves, with it being such a serious problem. Because we're not going to sit here and pretend that the Overwatch team is oblivious to all of these things. They're aware.
only 1 HP. Main.
But it doesn't feel like it's getting that same attention and concern that it should be. Even somebody as quote-unquote PMA as I am, someone who loves this game dearly, someone who religiously plays this game, it's still getting to me after 5 years. It's taking its toll, slowly and surely. And I'll be honest with you, there have been days where I've been waking up and I'm like, I don't want to play Overwatch ever again. And that really hurts when you love something this much. To say, this is such a bad experience for me that I would rather give up. Do you know how much that hurts? That hurts. That can go in the video. That belongs in the video, because I think that's important to state. That even though I love this game, I'm saying all these wonderful things about Overwatch 2, I'm still skeptical and I'm still afraid of getting hurt again. And I'm worried that passively, even actively, this could still be a problem. I've been hearing really good things about, you know, gameplay changes, and they're definitely in the right direction with all of that. They have the right ideas.
How do you die there, Lucio? You're such a fucking retard. Holy shit.
Thank you for that.
Actually
You
fucking atrocious at the game.
You are a prime example of the point I was trying to prove. I appreciate you so much right now. Thank you so much. Can't make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up. See, like, here's the thing. I can just easily report this person for abusive chat and say, they called me this word. I'm gonna make this like a bit of a meme entry. Because they definitely deserve to be, like, have action taken against them for that. But you know what the action is just gonna be? The action is just gonna be a mute. And if we go over here and we look at this account, this game's been out for 5 years. You're a 3-star bronze. That's an alt account. So guess what happens? Any action taken against this account won't apply to this person's main, the thing that actually matters to them. And more importantly, it's a temporary punishment. It is go to your room. Don't talk to anybody. For a week. And like, what do you think that's gonna do? Now you might say, oh, Brie, you have access to the Overwatch creator server. You can escalate reports. I can. I absolutely can. But no one else can. Us creators, we have a benefit. We have this ability to escalate reports to things that happen to us on stream, and essentially we can say, hey, Overwatch team, this happened to me, this person did this, have a look at this, please. Give them a replay code, you know, give them a clip or something that they can use as a reference, and they'll do something. Here's the thing, though. You don't have that sort of privilege. And that's what this is. Privilege. I don't want privilege. I want you to fix the fucking problem.